Ben and Graham show you their big movie listicles. This week, the top 10 best movie rug pulls.
Hello and welcome back to another show, episode 3. And how you doing, Graham?
I'm good. How are you, Ben?
I'm not too bad at all.
Another day, another dollar.
Another day, another dollar. Well, let's hope so. I hope you've enjoyed the last couple of shows. They're still available on YouTube and Mixcloud. You can listen to our choices of the worst Oscar travesties of all time and the most shocking moments in family-friendly or supposedly family-friendly movies. This week, Graham, what are we doing?
We are doing the best rug pull.
All right, calm down, matey. What was that?
That was pulling the rug.
Oh, that was pulling the rug.
I was doing sound effects and everything.
Let's just clarify a couple of things here. A rug pull is a little bit different from... So, for example, I mean, famously, people put on a list of movie twists. Films like Citizen Kane. For me, a twist isn't just something that you discover at the end of the film.
It's not a reveal, is it?
It's not a reveal, no. It's a film whereby, at the end, nearly everything you think you've seen or heard or been led to believe is only partly true. There's another dimension to it that could almost flip it on its head, certainly 180 it, and lead you to want to immediately, and I mean immediately, rewatch the entire film and spend that rewatching, kicking yourself, thinking, how did I not see that?
It's a whole new experience to watch.
Absolutely.
And that's what separates Citizen Kane and whodunits, because you know what the mystery is. The mystery is what is Rosebud, who murdered that person. And so you can have little bits of twist and turn like you did in Glass Onion, which I thought had some good little twisty bits in it.
It's not a reveal.
But it can't be just a reveal of what the mystery was all along.
Because you're right. I mean, Citizen Kane, as great as it is, you don't want to rewatch it again to see if you can spot the clues, because there aren't really many. No. And it's not one of those. So we're talking about films that have a rug pull, which literally upends everything you thought was true. Now, that can be done really badly. I remember when I was at school and I ended a story once with... and then he woke up and it was all a dream. I learned very quickly that was the crappiest way to end a story evs, because it basically means you can do whatever you want to do, and when you get yourself into an absolutely untangleable knot, you just say, yeah, but then he woke up and it was all a dream.
Isn't that what happened in Lost?
Basically, yes. They managed to con people to watch about 1 billion series of this really quite well done desert island sci-fi produced thing. And then at the end, they got themselves into such a mess, they had no idea how to resolve it. And it just, the ending was a big flop. I say that from not experience, because I haven't watched it. But
have you not? I watched every episode.
No, I like something like,
I watched Lost before anyone else because I was in Australia when it first launched.
My parents bigged it up all the way through. And then when they told me that at the ending it was the biggest letdown ever, I just thought, I can't be bothered to invest any time in it now.
And what was frustrating about Lost in particular is that they could, with just exactly the same story, have made it an alternative timeline that they could jump between.
Yes, a
and
metaverse.
That would have been perfect.
A metaverse
Well,
story.
it was just, it branched off at this point, and there were 2 timelines, and one of them could move between the 2 timelines.
Okay. I know a little bit about it, but not enough.
Information about the other timeline, and that would have been satisfactory. And so you've got the timeline where everything went wrong, and then you have another timeline that everyone transports to, and they're all happy and living together.
The problem is, and the reason you won't find any metaverse films on my part of the list anyway, is because the problem with that is, as fun as it is, there are no rules. Not even within the context and the framework of the film itself are there rules. Anything can happen at any point, which means there's no jeopardy. You don't give a monkeys about any of the characters. You're not engaged. So we're talking about films where the twist or the rug pull that's near the end or at the end is so well calibrated and designed that the first time you see it, you don't know what's going on, and the second time you watch it, you cannot believe you missed it, because the clues are all there. And you just think, wow, that was so well hidden. The distraction techniques, a little bit like a Tory minister at the dispatch box, are so adept that you just think, wow.
Ben, we have got to do a warning here.
What's the warning? Oh,
spoilers. Spoilers, okay?
Well,
so we're going to say the name of the movie. If you've not seen it, maybe just skip a little bit ahead.
Yeah, that's a good point, because I was thinking, how can you describe these films without ruining them?
Yeah.
You sort of could, but I'm sorry. And actually, I don't know what the moratorium on spoilers is. I mean, how long after a film comes out can you talk about the ending legitimately?
Well, that's the thing.
I mean,
someone ruined the end of Easy Rider for me once, and they were like, "But it came out in 1971."
Yeah.
I'm like, "I don't care. I haven't seen it."
Okay, so we were going to call this episode "It's a Sledge." He's a ghost, and it was Earth all along, but we decided not to. And I'm sorry if I've just ruined 3 movies for you there. But
you know, in The Sixth Sense, it was distributed in China as "He's a Ghost."
Are you kidding me?
No, you can look this up. It was distributed in China as "He's a Ghost." That's what they called the movie.
Oh my God. Right, okay, I didn't know that, and that's put a very new gloss on what I was going to say later. No, we'll
okay, let's get into it.
Anyway, let's get into it. Number 10, you're going to start us this week.
Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, a movie that no one's seen. It's from 1920. It's a German expressionist movie.
I'm aware
set
of it.
in a lunatic asylum in which a guy has this conspiracy theory that he thinks that everyone's out to get him, and he's got to escape from this loony bin.
Yeah.
But then it turns out, Ben, that he was mad all along.
Yeah, the thing is, though, the way you said that then was almost denigrating your choice, as if that was a really bit of a naff twist. It was stapled
phenomenal
on at the end.
time. It's just been done and done and done.
Isn't it
since
silent?
Then.
It's a silent movie, isn't it?
It's a silent movie, yeah.
Expressionist German cinema. Lots of angular, dark, shadowy stuff.
Well, they built these amazing sets with all these weird angles and things, and it's a phenomenal movie. It's only short. I mean,
so hang on, the movie. I haven't actually watched it, so it gives you the impression that he's sane.
Yeah, that he's a doctor in this mental asylum, and something's wrong in the state of Denmark.
Stonehurst Asylum was one like that, and of course, where the loonies have taken over the asylum, and it's the loonies that you think are the psychiatrists and the doctors, but they turn out to be the asylum inmates. It's a bit of an old trope. It's been done so many times.
The Dream Team with Christopher Lloyd and Batman and Michael Keaton.
Okay,
where it starts off, it's really clever. It starts off and it's a doctor doing the rounds.
Yeah,
and then it turns out that he's one of the patients.
Like you say, it's been done to death. But the first time it was done,
1920, over 103 years ago.
Oh my God!
I know. Yeah.
Okay, well, number 9 on the list, Usual Suspects, and I know it's another easy, low-hanging fruit choice, but how can it not be on a list of great movie rug pulls? So you basically, for those of you who've not seen it, and again, fast forward just a minute or two if you haven't. It's 1995, so it's quite a while ago now, but it's a wonderful movie. Is it Christopher McQuarrie? I think directed and wrote that. Stars Kevin Spacey as Verbal Kint. He's one of a team of bank robbers, heisters, nefarious criminals who are brought in for questioning following a heist gone wrong type thing. They're lined up, they're questioned by this cop. Now, it turns out, after watching the movie played out from various angles and perspectives, brilliantly done, masterfully done. I mean, it's a gripping watch. At the very end of the movie, Verbal Kint, Kevin Spacey's character, is sitting in the chair opposite the detective, and the whole movie hinges around who is Kaiser Soze. Kaiser Soze is this kind of crime overlord who literally everybody pees their pants at the very mention of his name. He's clearly like the big boss, but he's also like a mythical, apocryphal character who may or may not even exist. Anyway, Verbal Kint in the chair. Everything you have seen, or most of it, was gleaned by this character under questioning from the police notice board behind the detective. And then he drops the cup. He drops the coffee cup that he was holding, and on the bottom of the coffee cup, it's Kobayashi porcelain. And Kobayashi is the name of, not Verbal Kint, but Kaiser Soze's so-called lawyer. Never have I seen a film where literally everything you've just watched is thrown up into the air like a stack of cards and falls all over the place. It's like Rayman kind of thing. And you just think, oh my God, how do I pick these up now? I need to watch the film again and again and again until somehow it falls into place. And then the best thing is he just walks away at the end, and the limp that he's been clearly affecting the whole way through magically heals itself, still leaving you with the question, is he Kaiser Soze or not? That's not really answered, is it?
No.
And that's part of the film's mystery and joy, and it bears repeated viewings. It really does.
It was Bryan Singer, by the way.
Bryan Singer, sorry. I think Christopher McQuarrie wrote it.
Yes.
He then went on to become a Mission Impossible director with Tom Cruise. You're right, it was Bryan Singer.
Bryan Singer, and he went on to do the X-Men.
He went on and sold out to do a crappy Marvel.
Man of Steel movie.
Exactly. Anyway, we'll move on. Where are we? Number 8.
Superman Returns. No, I just want to say about Usual Suspects. Yeah. It is a great example of unreliable narrator.
Oh,
story.
God, yes. Absolutely.
One of the kingpins of this that I really recommend is a movie called Rashomon by Akira Kurosawa.
Oh, yeah.
And in that, it's about a woman who is raped and murdered in the woods, and you hear the story from
four different perspectives, don't you? Yeah.
Including the woman who was raped and murdered, who comes back as a ghost. And well worth watching.
Absolutely,
and actually, I think Bryan Singer referenced Rashomon as one of his...
He's never directed a better film, and he never will. Number 8, Graham.
The Original Psycho from 1960 by Alfred Hitchcock, and it's not just that. You have this amazing reveal where it turns out that you think all the way through when you're watching it the first time, and I love watching it with people who haven't seen it before.
Yeah, I do.
That the mother is the killer, and the son is clearing up her crimes, and you feel for the son because you're like, oh my God, he's got this mother who's done these terrible things, and he's just trying to be a good boy. But then it turns out it was him dressed as his mother, and his mom's been dead all along. But that's not the only thing in that movie. The other thing is this wonderful thing that I can't think of too many movies before then that ever did this. There's a few afterwards.
Yeah.
But you had the main character, Janet Leigh, her character's called Marion Crane. And the camera follows her for the first half of the movie.
Yeah.
It's her story.
Yeah.
For all intents and purposes, she is the main character of this movie.
Yeah.
Right? We're following her story from beginning to middle to... No, not the end. Just to the middle. And then her story just stops dead, literally, when she's stabbed to death in the shower. And at the time, Hitchcock was brilliant because what he did was he bought up all the copies of the book that it was based on so people couldn't find out what the ending was. And they did a big thing about having a presentation before the movie saying, don't spill the secret.
And isn't that the one where he told
the
all the cinemas not to admit anybody after it started?
Yes, after it started.
Yeah.
You had to get there before it started.
That should still be the rule to this day, I have to say. Really. Nothing worse than having to get out of your seat for someone that can't be bothered to turn up on time. No, great choice. I mean, it's my favourite Hitchcock film. It's a masterpiece.
Very clever.
And having the leading lady literally dispatched halfway through. It's like, no film had ever done that.
Absolutely shocking.
No film had
Even
ever...
to this day, it's kind of shocking to do that.
I know... But again, do it now, and it's immediately going to reference back to Psycho.
Yeah, exactly.
What a film. My number 7th choice is a film from 2001 with Nicole Kidman in it called The Others. Now,
that's a good movie.
It's a really... I love atmospheric ghost stories, spooky ghost stories.
Though, isn't it?
It was actually filmed on the island of Jersey. Set on the island of Jersey.
Is it a remake of a Spanish film?
You're right. It was filmed in Spain, set in Jersey, and I think it might be... but I believe it's the director of the 3rd instalment of the Harry Potter series, widely regarded as being the best, The Prisoner of Azkaban.
Curzon.
Alfonso Curzon. I think his name escapes me, but that's not the point. The point is, this is a masterful twist, a masterful rug pull. You've basically got this woman, Nicole Kidman, living with her 2 children in this massive, spooky mansion, miles from anywhere in the country. Her husband is off in the First World War, played by Christopher Eccleston. He does turn up towards the end, sort of. Anyway, she's got a daughter who has this photosensitive disease, which means all the curtains in the house have to be shut all the time. And a son who I think he doesn't suffer from anything. But the point is, all the way through the movie, they are haunted by ghosts, by noises, by bumps in the night, by things moving, by the curtains being suddenly mysteriously opened. There's this weird, spooky groundsman and housekeeper and a maid that just turn up out of nowhere to help them and support them through this awful period when she's alone with these 2 children in the house, that she can't go anywhere. It's a claustrophobic movie. They're in the house the whole time. Turns out... Spoiler alert. Nicole Kidman and her 2 kids and the housekeeper and the maid and the groundsman are not the real human characters in the story. The ghosts they think they hear are. They are the ghosts. All the way through, you're buying into this and you're engaging with these characters thinking they're being spooked out and freaked out and haunted. They're not. They are the ones doing the haunting as new people arrive in this mansion. It's brilliantly done. And believe me, it's a seriously spooky ghost story. Watch it.
Okay, next recommendation.
Where are we? 6.
6. Old Boy.
Oh, yeah. Octopussy.
Part of the Vengeance trilogy, which shows sympathy for Mr. Vengeance, then Old Boy, and then Miss Vengeance. Absolutely phenomenal movie from South Korea, and it involves a guy who is just kidnapped one day and put in a room. He's kept in the room for 15 years or something. And then he's released, and he doesn't know who has captured him or why. And he finds this beautiful young girl, and they fall in love. They have sex,
of course.
And then through the twists and turns of the movie, you find out that the person who wanted vengeance against him was someone from his old school who was in love with his sister, who our main protagonist saw him kissing his sister and told everyone, which basically ruined the guy's life, I assume. I think his sister committed suicide, I'm not sure. It was a long time ago when I saw it.
It's dark. But
then it turns out that the beautiful young woman who old boy himself has fallen in love with is his own daughter.
Yeah, and as
dark, man.
It's dark stuff, and if that's not dark enough, this is the film where he eats a live octopus, isn't it?
Yeah, we've all been there. I've eaten it.
Well, I've eaten a live octopus.
Yeah.
You really, seriously, you're not just saying
it's called dancing octopus. They chop it up, but it keeps moving.
Well, it's kind of dead then if it's chopped up.
No, it's still moving. It's like a plate of wiggly worms.
No, and that's been remade badly, hasn't it? Since
it does, yeah. Well,
why?
That's right.
We're going to get onto this. We're going to do terrible remakes.
Was it Spike Lee who remade it?
Oh my God! Sorry. Maybe every great director puts a foot wrong. We'll get onto that later. Right, my number 5 choice is Chinatown from 1974. Now, if you only watch one brilliant kind of film noir, steely blonde, twisty-turny detective thriller, just watch Chinatown.
If you've not seen it, please skip to the next one now, because we are going to ruin it for you.
Well, it's not just the rug pull and the twist that makes this such a great movie. You've got Jack Nicholson at the height of his powers. It's just brilliant. And you describe the plot to someone and they'll say, yeah, but it's about water and politics and bigwigs and corporations. Oh, it's not. It's about so much more. It's brilliantly done. Roman Polanski directed, bit contentious, obviously, but there's a twist. The twist in this movie, I don't want to give it away. In fact, I don't think I will. It seems a bit churlish and a little bit unnecessary to give this away. But there's a slapping scene. There's a slapping scene towards the end. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about. And something, again, that you believe to be true or weren't quite certain about is upended in a way that changes the dynamic of a lot of what you've seen before. It's brilliant. And I'm not going to ruin it for you, but just watch Chinatown, because it's, I think, of all the films on this list, even though we're talking...
You're not going to give it away? You're not going to say what it is?
Should I?
Well, I mean...
It's the scene.
No, I mean, it's the end for me. I mean, it's the end because when I was a kid, right?
Yeah.
I always thought, wouldn't it be cool that the baddies won? Wouldn't that be brilliant? Because in movies, the goodies always win. Even if they die in the process, they always get to the end, whether it's Gladiator or Pan's Labyrinth. They always win over the forces of evil. I thought, wouldn't it be great if just once the baddies won?
Well, there's a lot of films where the baddies win, and I don't mind them.
And they do. And I was left with this raging sense of injustice.
I think it's such a perfect film, and it's a film that has been described as being not only of its time. I mean, it's set during the 1940s, and the way the whole thing is constructed and put together, it's like you are there. It's like it was made in the 40s. I've got
a really interesting fact about Chinatown that you're going to love.
Go on, tell me that. Tell me.
It was envisaged as a trilogy of movies.
What, Chinatown?
Yeah,
didn't know that.
It's got a sequel called The Two Jakes. Which
of course, yeah, it does, yeah.
So it was about the three big. It was California in the 1950s, and it was water, there was electricity, and then there was public transport.
Yeah, it's like a monopoly board of movies.
And they never made the third
utility
one.
Movies, yeah.
But they did make the third one because it was the foundation for the plot of
LA Confidential.
No.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, that's also very similar, but go on.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Oh, shut up.
I am serious. Chinatown, Two Jakes. The plot of Who Framed Roger Rabbit is...
I don't
Christopher
know.
Lloyd wants to demolish Toontown to build.
Don't be ridiculous.
To build
That's
a highway.
Not the third part in a trilogy.
A highway, and that was based on.
Are you just trying to belittle my? Okay, there's a scene towards
I'm not. This is entirely true. You can look it up.
I'm just going to slip this in here. There's a slapping scene towards the end. She's my daughter. She's my sister. She's my daughter. She's my sister. Just go and watch the film. Yeah. Right? It's brilliant. Number 4.
I've lost where I am on the.
Well,
on
we're
this.
at number 4 now. Your fourth choice?
Again, it's The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. No, sorry,
No, it's not.
Shutter Island.
Even I can read.
Shutter Island, which is the same
That is
plot.
such a good film.
So basically, there's a guy, and he thinks he's investigating something fishy going on in a mental asylum, but then he turns out that he's actually an inmate of the mental asylum.
God, you've glossed over that one quickly.
Well, no, I mean, it's a great film. It's a great
He's
film.
ruined that one quickly.
Martin Scorsese.
Yeah,
it's got Leonardo DiCaprio, really, really good in it.
And Mark Ruffalo, who I love in everything.
Yeah, he's really good.
He's brilliant in everything.
And also Ben Kingsley.
Yes, it does. It does.
The head of the hospital. Fantastic movie, very atmospheric, and then when you watch it back afterwards, and tragic as well. Absolutely, it's one of those tragic movies.
Of course it is. Oh my God, no!
It's this guy disturbed by the fact that his wife, who's Carey Mulligan, isn't it? Is it Carey Mulligan plays his wife?
It might be, but we're talking about the scene in the lake, aren't we? Oh my, that's dark stuff.
And then you know he gets to this point where he realizes that you know. It's better that he loses his memory of this.
Oh, God.
So at the end of the film, there's another twist, which a lot of people don't get onto, where it doesn't...
Because they've given up by then.
It's not worked, you know, this treatment, this elaborate thing.
Yeah.
But it has, because he says to his mate, doesn't he, is it better to die a hero or something like that?
Yeah, it's...
And basically, he pretends at the end that he's still got a problem. So they give him the electroshock treatment that will erase
That's an
his
interpretation
memory
of it.
His wife.
Because at the
daughter
very
and
end
kids.
of that film, he's sitting on the steps of the asylum with Mark Ruffalo, and Mark Ruffalo looks off camera as if to nod to a psychiatrist or the police. No, he's still deluded.
But he's pretending. He's pretending.
You think he's pretending at that
up
point?
till that moment, he's normal. He gets it.
I didn't read it like that.
I don't want to remember this.
I
want
didn't
this
read it like
memory
that.
to go.
That's interesting, and that actually that links beautifully to Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Yes.
The Spike Jonze film, which of course is all about the ability to
Charlie
erase Charlie Kaufman, but Spike Jonze directed it, didn't he?
Yes.
It's about how you can erase.
Michel Gondry.
Oh my God, you're good. You're right. So what's Spike Jonze got to do with that one?
Being John Malkovich.
Being John Malkovich. I'm getting confused, which is also... Anyway, we'll move on because we're getting waylaid here again. That was number 4. Where are we now? Right, number 3. Now, I couldn't decide whether to go with this one or my number 1 choice, but it's obvious, but it's The Shawshank Redemption. Now, if you've never seen The Shawshank Redemption, where have you been? It's the greatest movie ever made. Not only is it based on Stephen King's best short story, which isn't in the horror genre for which he is best known, it's part of the 4 seasons quadrilogy, quartet of books, all of which, apart from The Breathing Method, have been made into a film. But this one, based on the short story Rita Hayworth in The Shawshank Redemption, is incredible.
I'm guessing that most of the people watching this or listening to this have seen it.
I genuinely think if you're listening to a film podcast that's about the minutiae of films, you'll have seen Shawshank. It turns out all the way through the film, for 19 years of his incarceration, he has been digging a hole out of his cell and disguising the hole with a series of film posters, everyone from Raquel Welch to Rita Hayworth. When you watch the film again, there are a couple of scenes that are so excruciatingly tense. For example, when the Bible that has a rock hammer that he's been digging his hole with, inside it, is passed through the cell to the evil governor.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Ben,
and
I think
the look on his
listening
face.
to this has seen this.
I know they have, but it's such a damn good
Go watch
twist.
the movie.
It's brilliant. Oh, and the second part of the twist is he makes about $350,000 of corrupted warden's money that he's been putting into different offshore accounts.
Do you know what?
And he walks away with a whole lot. It's brilliant.
I think there's some movies where there's a twist.
I love
but
it.
It's not earned.
I love it.
That is a twist that is absolutely 100% earned, and it makes you want to watch the movie immediately.
Oh,
again.
I love it. Anyway,
and it's one of those movies. There was a quote at the time, an Empire magazine, and it said, "It's the kind of film you watch it and you go, oh, they don't make them like that anymore.
Fear can hold you prisoner.
they just did.
Hope can set you free." Graham, we're on to our top 2 choices now. Top two.
Yes,
top
now
2.
that you finished talking about Shawshank for half an hour.
Oh, shut up.
Are you going to do this on every episode?
No.
No? Okay. So my number 1 rug pull has got to be Fight Club. Now, I saw Fight Club in 1999 at the Manchester Odeon the week before it came out. It was a preview screening. I had no idea what it was about. All I had seen at that point was adverts on the side of buses, which had Edward Norton and Brad Pitt and him holding up the soap that said Fight Club on it. I had no idea whatsoever what this whole thing was about. And I went in with very little in the way of expectations. Obviously, I had enjoyed 7. I didn't think much of 8mm. I wasn't a massive fan of the game. And so this movie came out and I was like, yeah, I'm not expecting like great shakes from this. And it was absolutely pitch perfect. And it's the kind of movie that the twist is earned. And when you see it, you're like, I need to watch this movie immediately again.
Yeah.
And that's what sells it for me. So that's
Absolutely.
my number 1, Fight Club, 1999. Over to you, Ben.
It's an excellent choice, but it's not quite as good as The Sixth Sense, which, again, low-hanging fruit, nice and easy. Everybody's seen it, but what a twist. Bruce Willis is a ghost. I mean, it's along with It's a Sledge and the other one I mentioned earlier from Planet of the Apes. Spoiler-tastic. So, 1999, M. Night Shyamalan's first film, still widely regarded as his best. A lot of people will say, Unbreakable's a bit better, and it's very, very good. But his career trajectory has basically been a diagonal line heading into the centre of the earth ever since. His films have got progressively worse. This is a masterpiece. And it's a masterpiece because when you watch it again, immediately after you realise Bruce Willis was dead all the way through, the clues are so beautifully laced into the movie. You just think, wow, that's a big one. He doesn't talk to anyone else. How the hell did I not notice that? And it's just, there's a plethora of them all the way through the film. It bears up to repeated viewings, and there's no film I can think of that is more fun to watch with someone who's never seen it. Because they'll always invariably say, no, I knew that. No, I knew he was a ghost. No, I knew at this point. And why didn't you say then? Well, I only didn't say because I didn't want to spoil it for you. But I told you I've seen it before. And you just think, come off it. Anyone that says they figured it out is lying. Because it's such a beautifully put together film.
The problem is, right,
it's well done.
When it came out, just like with Fight Club in the same year, I saw it either on the first night that it came out.
They were the same year, weren't they? Yeah.
Preview screening. So no one had given the fact away. There was a twist.
I know.
Now, when I watched his later movies, most supposed to be The Village, I was looking for the twist.
And that's the problem. We should have said at the top of the show, the best way to watch a movie with a twist in it is to not know there's a twist. Because my mum, for example, loves movies with twists, and she'll always say, give me a whole list of movies with twists. And like, well, then half the pleasure's gone because you're waiting for it. No one knew there was going to be a twist.
Look out for.
I know, and that was the problem.
To go into it naive. Well,
with all his subsequent movies.
Planet of the Apes was actually, Planet of the Apes should have been in our top 10. Can we swap out Shutter
No, you
Island,
can't. You can't
please?
Swap any out. We've done it
swap
now.
It out for Planet of the Apes, because that was a fantastic rug pull. Because it's
it is
the original.
It is. But
honourable mention.
Honourable mention. We can do that. I think we've come up with 10 really good choices. But those last two, Fight Club and Sixth Sense from 1999,
pre-millennial tension.
Oh God, yeah, absolutely. That sounds like a terrible bout of something with
get your radio albums out.
No, seriously, go and vote on our Twitter feed. You'll find a link to that right underneath where you're listening to this on YouTube or on Mixcloud. The vote will stay open for 6 days. Not only can you vote for which one of us is right and therefore which one of us is wrong.
It's me.
No, I think you'll find that Sixth Sense is the best twist evs.
David Fincher kept making good movies afterwards.
That's nothing to do with it.
Whereas
that's got nothing to do with it. We're looking at one movie in isolation. All right. Okay. Well, his recent one actually, Knock on the Cabin, is pretty good. Anyway. Go and vote and tell us where we got it wrong. So if you think, hang on a minute, how can you possibly have a top 10 list of twists without this one in it? That's the place to let us know. If you like what we're doing, buy us a coffee or a Ko-fi or a beer on Ko-fi. And if, most importantly...
Buy us a Kofi Annan.
Buy us a Kofi Annan.
Buy us a former Secretary General of the United Nations.
If you really like what we're doing, but you think we're missing a trick, let us know by slipping us 50 quid and we will guarantee within 28 days to record a show just for you on the top 10 movie-themed list of your choice, provided it's not completely inappropriate. We're not doing pornos, Graham. We're not doing pornos. All right, that's it for this week. We'll see you again same time next week. Thanks a lot, Graham.
Thank you very much, Ben.
Bye-bye.